So welcome to an Origin of Energy movement clip on stretching. So this clip I'm just going to go through how to balance the pelvis. So what tends to happen to people is if they've got muscle imbalances around the pelvis, if they're really tight through here in the hip flexor and the lower back, their pelvis will tend to tilt forward like this. And this will often happen when someone has a distended lower abdominal region, and after pregnancy this is very common, especially if they've had a cesarean and they've cut through this layer through here, through the muscles, severed the nerves, and then the muscles just distend. So it's very important to be able to stretch the right muscles and strengthen the right muscles to bring that pelvis that's like this back into balance. And then the other variation you'll see that's very common now, especially with people sitting down a lot, is you see this flat back posture. So instead of having tight hip flexors and the tight lower back, you've got tight hamstrings and glutes, and then the butt tucks under. And normally this is the type of person that bends forward to pick something up, and they'll overuse the lower back in flexion, whereas the other person like this will tend to load in extension. This type of posture is more prone to a disc bulge where the disc will go out the back, whereas this person's more prone to what's called a spondylolisthesis or spondylolysis, where the facets in the spine get jammed. So an easy way just to stretch that out and to balance the pelvis is obviously, first thing is just to be conscious of your posture. It really takes a long time to entrain the nervous system. If you're used to standing like this all the time, it's not until you get bad pain that you start to think twice about how you're standing. And then from there, it's just a matter of keeping it fairly neutral. You don't want to lock it hard and still all the time, but unless you've got a really bad, severe, challenge through your spine and a degenerative process, or you've really injured your back, and that way you need good guidance by a good physiotherapist or chiropractor or Czech practitioner. But if you just kind of look like you can feel that you've got extension there, then just standing like this really helps a lot. And vice versa, if you're really flat like that, just being conscious to stand and walk and do things like that will really help. But just some basic stretches to alleviate the tension out of that area are, if you've got this type of posture, you can stretch the hip flexor out by just doing a psoas lunge like this. Breathing in, and then you contract and tighten the muscle, tuck the pelvis under. Then when you breathe out, stretch. You do that 3 to 5 times. So you do that for the front, and then to stretch out the back, you just do a squat stretch. So you hold on to something and just stretch out the lower back, and you can come in, work different sides, big breath in, and then when you breathe out, and just sink into the stretch and really stretch it out. And it's great for the calves as well. So if you've got tight hamstrings and glutes, a good one to do is just keep that arch there, so you're helping strengthen those muscles at the same time, and bend forward through the hips and do what's called a wader's bow. Big breath in, contract the hamstrings, then when you breathe out, that'll help free up the movement there. But ideally, if you're someone that does yoga, you want to be able to get to that position without doing that, because if someone who does yoga has got really tight glutes or goes to do it, they'll tend to, when they go into a down dog, just round out their lower back like that, because the hamstrings are really tight. And then what happens is they just get a disc bulge, or they overstretch all these ligaments through the pelvis and through the sacroiliac joint, which is not really optimal. So they just destabilize the system. And then they normally get more spasm in the hamstring because the body tries to tighten itself up. So some key things with stretching is just really listen to your body. If you've been stretching for about 6 weeks, and you're being really consistent with it, stretching twice a day with really good form, and if you have this type of pelvis and you're doing 3 to 5 contract relaxes each side twice a day, and then doing the squat stretching, and you're being conscious throughout the day, but the muscle just keeps getting tight, it's tight for a reason. So you also want to integrate some strengthening exercises here for the lower abdominals and for the glutes, but you can look at other clips on the website that go through all of that stuff more in detail. But the main thing is that you're getting that balance. But if that's not even working, all the movement-based stuff, you've got to look a little bit deeper, and it might be to do with having distension of the lower abdominals from something you're eating, which is shutting down these muscles. If you've had a cesarean or you've had any type of abdominal surgery and it's shutting down muscles there, then what happens is these hip flexor muscles just spasm to try and hold the body together. And then in the back, if there's some type of instability from, if you've got reproductive organ inflammation, if you're a female, it can cause spasm in other muscles. And what that'll do there is tighten these muscles in the lower back. So there's all different variations of reasons why the body will get tight. But if you've been doing stretching for about 6 weeks and it's not working, and you've been doing movements and strengthening exercises as well, it's very important to really look a bit deeper and look above just the biomechanics of the body, and look at what you're eating and look at what your organs are doing on the inside, as well as some key things in lifestyle. Because if you're sitting like that all day, it doesn't matter what stretches you do, you'll keep becoming your environment. So keep loving life, and just know that you have a choice to create what you want in life and create a beautiful, aligned body that functions well and allows you to perform well every day. See you next time.